Hey everyone, welcome to Soulstrology. I'm Bright Hawk, and together with Hollis Taylor, we bring you weekly astrology that's accessible, inclusive, and totally down to earth. Hollis is a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller who loves making the cosmos relatable. We're both passionate teachers who love answering your questions and helping you navigate life through the stars. Each week we start with a guided meditation to tune in to the planetary energies. Then we dive into the week's cosmic forecast, offer horoscopes for every sign, and always make time for your live questions. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, we create a welcoming space where everyone belongs. Our different perspectives and styles come together to give you a well-rounded cosmic experience. Welcome to Soulstrology. Let's get centered, tune in, and explore what the universe has in store for us this week.
Hello! Hey everyone! This is Hollis and Bright Hawk of Rainbow Soul, and we're so glad to be connected with you this week. This is our new format, in case you didn't catch it last week, where we'll be recording this ahead of time and recording and releasing it hopefully sometime on Sunday. I'm sure we'll get more regular about it as time goes on. And we will still do a live broadcast on Mondays, but it will just mostly be question and answer. And we'll also release the horoscopes around that time. So each zodiac signs horoscopes on Mondays will also be released. So those will be in reels. You can look for those as a reel. And I'm glad you're tuning in this week. This will be for the week of October 13th through the 19th. So I'm grateful that you're tuning in and checking it out. And I hope that you have your astrology chart with you. So as we go through the week, we can point things out for you. And, I always say it's best to follow along with your own astrology chart so you can see exactly where these planets will be in your chart, because that will determine where in your life will be most affected. And that's the most, I think, effective and accurate way to follow astrology, in my opinion. All right. So, Brett Hawk, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I just want to say hello, and I hope you're having a good week. I hope you've enjoyed what we're putting out there. Thanks so much for supporting us. We look forward to the live Q&A with you on Monday evenings. So please make sure you're subscribed and liked and have the little bell thing so you know when we're live and we can have a great conversation. And it's always super helpful if you bring your chart. All right, well, shall we get going with today's meditation?
Yeah, let's get started. Let's get this going. And now take this moment to take a nice deep breath. And just allow it to relax all the muscles in your shoulders and your neck, down your arms. And allow yourself to feel relaxation throughout your body. And as you settle in, imagine yourself in the most relaxing position you would like to be in, staring up at the sky, at the night sky with stars twinkling as far as they can go. With just a quarter moon shining just enough light. And as you are staring up at the beautiful stars, one of them is shining bright in front of you. And that bright, beautiful light is calling to you, and as you look at it, it starts to come in closer to you. And you're realizing this light is not a star, but a planet. The planet Venus. The planet of love and pleasure, relationships and harmony. And you can see that Venus has the sign of the scales. Her favorite place, the favorite place for Venus to be, is in Libra. Balanced and harmonious, beautiful and connected, feeling inspired and connected to others. That is the deep meaning of Venus. And when we are in connection with others, things are balanced and fair. And Venus is calling for that right now. In this moment, Venus is pulling for that beautiful connection, that harmonious energy, that beautiful pleasure of fairness, of connection, and creative art. Reminding you in the weeks to come to connect, to find people that you are connected to use your resources to get connected to others. Feeling loved and giving love freely. This is the energy of Venus in Libra. Where can we be more connected? How can we give more love? your body. You can feel your feet on the floor. Feel the seat that you are in now. Feel your body. Feel its relaxed nature. Your openness and your creative thinking. And ever present in your body in the here and now. And I'm hoping that you can take a deep breath and wiggle your toes and your fingers and come back into the here and now.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Bright Hawk. Well done.
Always a pleasure.
So, I guess you guys could guess what the theme this week is, huh? Venus and Libra. It's pretty much happening while you're watching this on Monday. So we're going to share the charts here for you, so you can take a look, and we'll be going through them one at a time for this week. And I just want to start out with Monday, October 13th. Obviously, Venus is at 0 degrees Libra. And that is really, we'll probably feel that. Most of us will feel that. Plus, it's part of a grand trine, which I thought was interesting. That has to do with that Pluto retrograde, which has been in a trine with Saturn and Uranus. It's been in a minor trine for quite some time now, sextile and trines. It's actually Pluto and Uranus are in a sextile to Saturn and Neptune, which are actually retrograde in Pisces Aries, right on the edge of the Pisces Aries cusp. And Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius, and Uranus is retrograde in Gemini. We've talked about this almost every week. It's a minor trine. It's been going on for quite some time. I've really said that this is about the great reveal. This is about, yes, it very much has to do with our politics. It very much has to do with what we're seeing in the world. This very much is about the great reveal, meaning that we slowly discover things that we need to know in order to help us to transform. And I think, I was reading today and I was like, well, like some people that have, maybe have been on board with understanding that the current problem in our country, what is it exactly, and knowing that we are in trouble. I think for a lot of us, we kind of feel like, well, gosh, when's everyone else going to get on board? I think the other thing that we're supposed to be figuring out during this time is, okay, so once we do get in a better place, once we do establish a better, once we do get rid of the fascist situation we're in, where are we going from there? Then what? And how do we make this better? And how do we make this not happen? And if you pay attention, there are some leaders that are talking about that now, which I find refreshing, that we're talking about, okay, so after this fascist, after we get rid of this fascist, after we fire this guy, we're just waiting for everyone else to get on board. Once that happens, which is going to happen, that's Pluto retrograde. That's Pluto in Aquarius. This is we the people. We the people, and Pluto's about power and control, and this is very much about we the people. This is what we're saying. And with Uranus also retrograde in Gemini, Uranus is saying, hey, we have to find progress here. We have to find a new way to do this. We have to find a new way to communicate. We have to be able to befriend people. We need to be able to network and work with each other. And with Saturn and Pisces, it's going over the last bit of boundaries that maybe we haven't set, and what other boundaries do we need to set. And with Neptune in Aries, it's showing us what people's actual intentions are. And as Saturn and Neptune this winter go direct, I think it's going to change this entire trine and sextile, this minor trine we've been watching unfold for quite some time now, several months. And it is part of the grand trine, which Venus will be now in. And I think that's going to speak to this week. It's going to speak to the beauty. What do we want? What do we desire? What is going to be fair? What would balance the scales here? Because this clearly isn't fair, right? And what can we do to make it fair? How can we make it fair? How can we even the scales? And I think that's what the grand trine is about. Obviously, Venus is also completely opposite Saturn and Neptune retrograde. Saturn, it represents the system, the government. Um, it represents the teacher. It represents karmic things like karmic cycles. And with Neptune there, Neptune is about visions, but currently it's retrograde, so it tends to be more about like delusions and things like sort of illusions we are under. And I think this is the part where people are starting to wake up and say, this isn't what I wanted when I wanted Donald Trump. This is not what I wanted. I wanted change, but I didn't want this change. This is not how I imagined it happening. And I think that that's starting to happen. Take a look around. There's a lot of people that are not happy about these changes. And I think that that's important. And I think because that's going to lead us all to come together, Pluto and Aquarius, which is also going direct on Monday. So as Pluto and Aquarius goes direct, I think between the Libra and the Pluto Aquarius is kind of saying, okay, so then what do you want? So all of us need to come together and say what we do want. Now, this might be happening. Yes, it's happening in the grand scheme, in the big world, in our politics and in our culture right now. But I think this is also happening probably in your world. This is probably also happening, in your community, in your family, in your relationships. Okay, so if this isn't what we want, then what do we want? What would feel good? What do we want to manifest? What is it that we want to do? And I think it's important to listen to that part of you and to listen to and to get in touch with what it is that you actually want. And that's really what's going to come up on Monday and I'd say most of next week. So I think you'll really feel the shift on Monday. So did you have anything you want to add about that, Bright Hawk?
Well, just I guess I'll talk about the moon. The moon is conjunct Jupiter and it's at home in Cancer. Now, Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, it's quite powerful. So it's interesting that all week we also there's some real consistent themes that set up for the week and stay around. One of them is the Grand Trine. The other is the T-square between Sun opposite Chiron in a T-square to Jupiter and the Moon. And of course, the Moon's going to move on, but Jupiter will still be there, so that's T-square will continue all week. What does that mean? Well, the Sun is in Libra and Chiron is in Aries. So anytime I see Aries, I think about the what do you want question and what are you going to do about it? Chiron, of course, is the wounded healer. So is there any kind of action that you need to take that would sort of balance things in your life? Because Libra, Sun is about bringing balance and harmony to your health, opposite Chiron. And the arbiter, the mediator, the facilitator of that conversation is Jupiter. And Jupiter always asks, what do you want? Where do you want to go? Let's go. Jupiter's the ultimate party animal, of course, the ruler of Sagittarius, often known for bringing the good time. So Jupiter in Cancer, Cancer's all about home, intellect, what's going on deep inside. Often involves themes around family and children. And of course, we have this grand trine with air and intellect and thinking. So all of that to me says, think about how you communicate, be good to yourself, and figure out what you need and want for your highest health and well-being. And pay attention to the changes that are coming, because of course Uranus involved is always going to be a surprise a minute. And Uranus is retrograde. So definitely, feeling that retrograde energy. And of course Pluto, if we go to tomorrow, I shouldn't steal the lead, but tomorrow is Pluto's finally going stationary. And so what that means is, of course, when we talk about retrograde, we're not talking about the planets actually going backwards. It's that illusion of things moving at different speeds, like when you pull up at a traffic light and you're going slower and the other car's going a little faster. That illusion that happens, that can make it look like one is actually going backwards. So Pluto finally, it's stopped. It's not going any further than that 1 degree in Aquarius. And now it'll slowly, as slow as you can possibly imagine, slowly start turning forward again. It's turning direct. So that's the big headline for Tuesday, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So what I wanted to say about Pluto was that, while it's going direct and it feels like such a big planet and it has a lot to do with a lot of things, it's also in a huge cycle transit. So, it takes a little bit longer, sort of like Uranus, for things to show up and for us to fully understand the impact of that planet when it moves. You don't usually feel it on the day. Sometimes you recognize it after a week or so. You're like, Pluto's gone direct. Okay, we're finally making progress. And it's interesting because I happen to know that there's a huge protest, and that will be on the 18th. Now, I'm fully aware that Jupiter in Cancer is usually aligned with those protests, and Jupiter is going to station here soon, and it is part of that T square. So I'm going to give you a little heads up. If you're not interested in being arrested or being in the front lines, this isn't a good time to do that. There could be some uncomfortable situations in those protests. It definitely happens. We've all seen it. We've witnessed it in video and things like that. And you'll see that later this week with that T square, especially on the 18th, which is when the No Kings protest is. So I want to give all of my protester friends out there, people that are like, oh, I'm going to go to the protest on Saturday. I'm just going to say, that's fine. Just, don't take the bait. Was something I was reading. Someone posted about that there could be people trying to bait you into being more aggressive or to being something more than nonviolent. I'm just going to say that we need nonviolent protests. That's really what we need. We don't need more fighting. We don't need more violence. Obviously, I think that's obvious, but just going to say it. If there's people trying to bait you, be aware that they're trying to bait you, and it could hurt the movement. So we have to be careful not to do that. We have to do our best not to do that. And I'm just going to say, if someone's trying to bait you, just get away from them. Just, just go to the other side. There's usually, and let other people know, let other people that you're with or anyone that you're standing nearby or whatever, just don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Just stay nonviolent, get in your frog costume, whatever it is you need to do. Right? Okay. And, maybe you're not going to the protest. Maybe there's something else, but I'm just saying with that Jupiter in Cancer, it has something to do with home. And there could be some things about this week with that T square, even though there's a grand trine, because Jupiter is exalted and it's stronger than Venus because it's exalted and it's in Cancer and it is part of that T square. So there could continue to be something about home, especially around like things, not going exactly the way you were hoping they would or whatever it is. And so you want to keep your eye on that, and just know that some things are coming together easily and quickly for you while other things are not. And while you're still having a challenge, especially in relation to maybe your health and home, and that sun in Libra, which has a lot to do with like fairness and connections and relationships and that kind of thing. And I think that T square, which is, you can see that purple triangle, it's pointing down to Jupiter in Cancer. If you have something in Cancer, you're going to want to be paying attention to that, especially if it's in late degree Cancer, because you can see there's like a T square there to that Jupiter in Cancer. And the Chiron is over in Libra, sorry, in Aries. So of course that's going to be like, whatever you have, where's Aries for you, especially where is late degree Aries? Where does Aries meet Taurus? That's what you're going to want to look for. And where is late degree Libra? Where is that for you? Okay. So you want to be looking at what's happening there, because that's going to be that T square, that Libra Aries axis. And the best way to resolve it is to look at that Jupiter in Cancer and try to resolve how you can balance that imbalance, because it will be literally like a pool in two different directions. So the best way to resolve it is try to engage that Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is very much about belief systems. And Cancer is very much about the home. It's very much about emotions, hidden emotions, especially emotions hidden under the hard surface. And Jupiter is very much about belief systems and luck and expansion. So you want to think about, how can you expand your mind to think of this in a different way? How can you think of doing this in a different way? How can you expand wherever that Jupiter is? So you want to look and see what piece of the pie it's in. You can see the pieces of the pie. See the circle in the middle has numbers 1 through 12, starts over on the left and goes all the way down and around. Not the numbers that are near the zodiac sign on the outer circle. I'm talking about the inner circle. And those little pieces of the pie are what we call houses in astrology. And so you can see 1 through 12. And so if you know what house it's in, you can even look it up. What does the third house mean? What does the fourth house mean in astrology? And Google and AI will absolutely tell you. I'm not fooling you. I'm not. I mean, I would say that an AI read astrology chart is not very intuitive, obviously, since AI is not intuitive, and you're probably missing out on a lot. Um but if that's all you can get, that's all you can do right now, then that's what you do. Okay, so Jupiter's in Cancer, and it's in a square to the sun and to Chiron in Aries, which is very much about old wounds or old things coming up, especially things from the past that maybe needed to be taken care of and you still need to resolve. So try to stay in touch more with that Jupiter in Cancer to resolve that push pull. But at the same time, we have that grand trine with early degree Venus in Libra. So depending, you could have mixed blessings in Libra. You could have a mixed. I'd say it was probably a mixed week. I think earlier in the week will be better than later in the week. That's pretty much what I seen. Would you agree with that, Bright Hawk?
Yeah, and what I'm also getting and seeing in that crescent moon and the way that it is aspected, it makes me say, Leo moon, what are you loyal to? And are your loyalties well placed? So, one of the great gifts of Leo can be its loyalty, but also one of the challenges of Leo is its loyalty, staying past when you know it's time to move on, right? That kind of a classic example. I know all about it because I have a Leo moon. So loyalty matters to us, Leo moons, and there's a nobility keeping your word and being true and high integrity, and those are the high sides, the positive aspects of a Leo moon. Um, the challenge side of a Leo moon is always going to be potentially being interpreted as arrogant, know it all, uh, stubborn, ostentatious, something like that. Those will be the challenge sides of the Leo moon. So when I see it in relationship to everything else, the question I have is, what are you loyal to, and is that well placed or not?
Mm-hmm. And it looks here like the Grand Trine and the T square.
Mm-hmm.
The T square gets really strong here on Thursday. This is what I noticed: Thursday, Friday, and then even Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's why I'm kind of like a little like concerned about the protest there, because that's the intensity of that T square, along with the moon on Saturday at the protest. Saturday, the moon in Virgo, being opposite Saturn. So I feel like even if you're not at the protest, you could be feeling very sensitive, because I feel like Virgo moon is very sensitive. Virgo likes everyone to be well taken care of, and I feel like with the opposite Saturn like that, I feel like you're probably not going to like what you see. Um, Make sure you do some self-care. I think it's kind of, I have mixed feelings about. I recognize that for some of us, we can't stay that in tune to the news and other things going on because it depresses us and upsets us. But at the same time, that depression and that upset is kind of what makes us take action, which then therefore causes us to to change things, right? And that's kind of what drives that, is the ability to make those changes. And we wouldn't make those changes if we weren't bothered. People don't go to protest because they love the way things are going. Right. So part of me says to you, if you're having to put your head in the sand or turn around or anything like that, I understand. And I would say, is there something you can do to support your vision, to support a better tomorrow, a better world for everyone? And I'm sure many of us would agree that there's lots of things that need to change. And so I would just grab one thing that you feel most strongly about. There's plenty of those things going on, like a war in Gaza and all kinds of other things, right? So I would just say grab a hold of that thing, and that's really what that T square is speaking to you. So if you feel like it's really hard to turn your back right now, or really hard to put your head in the sand, I'm going to just say that's on purpose. And I'm just going to say, so instead, listen to the call. And I find that that's actually easier than putting my head in the sand. Like, I'm one of those people that would love to put my head in the sand. I would love to just turn around and not pay attention. And sometimes I have in the past. And I would say that also, I usually also at some point get tired of having my head in the sand. And so what I would say is that when you get to that point, if and when you get to that point, I'm just going to say, I would just suggest that you just make some sort of movement. It doesn't mean you have to go to the protest. It means that you could contact the organizer and ask if you can make signs, or maybe you make a post, or maybe you write about how you're feeling. Maybe you write about how terrible this all makes you feel. Um, and I think putting something like that on Substack or something like that would be excellent. So these are all ways, or maybe you make a video about it. Maybe you put it on your YouTube channel. I don't know what it is, but only you know what that is. And there are different ways. There are many other ways other than going to a protest to help bring change. And, in honor of Jane Goodall, who recently passed, know that even if you do nothing, you are making a difference. Even if you do nothing, you are making a difference, because then someone else has to do double. right? Okay. And she used to say that all the time. Or you can do something and change it. And she would say that, that's why we have to do something, so that we, do our fair share of what needs to be changed. So, it's okay. So, do what you can. And that's all the universe is asking for, is to do what you can. No one's asking you to change it. No one's asking you to solve the problem. No one's asking you to fix it. We're just asking you to help out. And I think that's really what the message, especially as the moon is in Virgo. If you're feeling that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I really feel like that's a T square plus that Virgo moon is really going to push us to want to take care of our land, to want to take care of each other, to want to nurture, because that's really what the Virgo moon is about. Virgo moon is very much about nurturing, taking care of. And so you may even feel that way about your family or about something else going on in your home.
The other thing that I would point out about Saturday and Sunday is that Mercury and Mars are becoming conjunct, and I think they perfect um, on Sunday. Yeah, it perfects on Sunday. So what does that mean? Well, Mars in Scorpio is not known for being nice. Mars in Scorpio, our grandson has this aspect, means they are capable of saying the exact thing that they know will sort of put the knife in, right?
I'm not sure they consciously know.
Um, right, but Scorpio's very deep, and they're truth tellers and secret keepers. And so if they see something and they get pushed in a way, and Hollis talks about this a lot, being a Scorpio rising, where all of a sudden out pops the truth, but it might not be nice, but it's true. Scorpio has a way of doing that, and they're known for it. And so some people are afraid of Scorpios because of how they wield their truth telling capabilities. So Mars and Scorpio conjunct Mercury. Mercury is all about communication. So these two together, be careful with your words. The high integrity thing around communication when you speak, you have considered, is it true? Is it nice? Is it kind? Does it need to be said? Would it hurt anyone? Things of this nature. I don't think I have all of them, but
I'm not even.
what?
I was going to say, I'm not even sure that people would be conscious enough to know what they were saying.
Mm.
Like, I think, and check it out, it's in a trine to the north node and a sextile to the south node. That makes me think
Fated.
it's very fated. Whatever comes out of you, we're still having that experience that I talked about last week, where things just kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's yeah. The point at which we go, well, when things like this are said, they can't be unsaid. So, knowing what you stand for and not being, but instead of doing it in a negative, let me do it in a positive. Being mindful of how we wield our words, right? Yeah, so that's what the weekend looks like. And I appreciate what you're sharing, Hollis, because we're planning on going to the No Kings rally and protests. And I am a little concerned looking at this chart. This doesn't exactly make me feel like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I really am concerned that police are known for their tactics of, let me bait you and just poke you and poke you and poke you until you do something where they go, cuff them. and it's not nice. It's absolutely as rude as can be. So all of us who are willing or able to go and be in solidarity, do it in be mindful of being emotionally regulated. Don't be sensitive. Try to be just as calm and cool, collected as possible. I love seeing the inflatable costumes, the unicorns and the dinosaur and the frog, of course, in Portland, Oregon. I love their sense of humor and delivery of penis-shaped donuts to the cops. Hilarious, hilarious. And while it's so scary and there's so many things that we feel are so out of our control, 100%, that can make you feel powerless. That's their goal. That can put you in fear. That's their goal. The one thing we have to just constantly remind ourselves is we are good people. We believe in democracy for the highest good of all, and that if we come together and stand together, the people will prevail. And we have to do it peacefully. So they have no excuse and no reason to try to be violent, aggressive, and fascist. So, fingers crossed and lots of luck to anyone and everyone that's planning on going to these protests. And we hope that it's a really good week. We have that grand trine most of the week, so may you have great thoughts and that Venus coming home to Libra, may that feel really good. Like, may things feel like they're coming into balance in one way or another. Or I think we're a long way from balance, to tell you the truth. I can't even comprehend what that means right now, but yeah.
Well, I was just going back to see exactly when does the trine sort of fall apart, or whatever you want to call that. And it's actually, it's actually most of the week. It looks like it really kind of falls apart on Thursday. So, I just want to say that the early part of the week is going to be easier, even in your day-to-day life, or anything that you have to do with work or schools or government systems. There could be some other things coming together for you. Just recognize that some things might be playing out like this on purpose, and there might be some destiny or something like that that's coming up, especially with Mars and Mercury in trine and sextile to the nodes. The nodes are in a great conversation right now with action and words. So that's really about destiny and where we came from, and moving away from where we came from and moving into what we are to be. So this is in your life, wherever your destiny is, wherever the universe is trying to get you going. And if you happen to have Pisces placements, the tides are probably trying to push you along. So you could see that like somebody the waters coming along and pushing you in a certain direction or something like that. And And I think also with that happening, pushing you through the North Node in Pisces, pushing you towards exactly what you are supposed to be headed to, whatever you're supposed to be doing, especially if you have a strong Pisces placement. If you feel a strong tide pushing you, just try to flow with it. Try to let go of whatever you have to let go of, whatever change you need to embrace. Go ahead and change, make those changes, and just do your best to make those changes. And just know it will get easier over this winter. But I think with Pluto going direct earlier this week, I think in the weeks to come, we're all due for some heavy changes, some big changes, because eventually this winter, Pluto's already direct, and then Saturn's going to go direct, Neptune's going to go direct. Uranus is going to go direct. It's going to be like boom, 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 just like it was boom, boom, boom when we all went retrograde and we were all like, what's happening? Eventually, that's all going to go forward and things will change. And that's the one thing that I can say that's always true, which is change is the only constant. Okay, so wherever you're at now, it will change. And with Venus in Libra, that could really help with money or financial things or beauty or just enjoying the beauty of life, and finding the beauty in relationships and our connections with each other. That'll be a really important theme this week, especially as we get later on in the weekend. Even though we have that T square with Jupiter and Cancer, that's going to be more about home. Maybe it has more to do with like money and home or something like that you have to deal with. But I think with a lot of these trines, there's still a lot of trines even as we move into the weekend. There's a lot of positive trines. So you might have a little bit of a mixture. There might be a little bit of stress over the weekend. So like I said, instead of if you're really looking at the stress, if it does have to do with politics, let me just say, just the smallest things that you can do are like, go find leaders that you do believe in, leaders that you do like, and go follow their page, even if they're not for your area. Go like what they're doing, share what they have on your Facebook, read an article, make a comment. Those kinds of things support those leaders that are trying to step up and make changes. And if that's not your thing because it's too public or you don't want people to know about your belief system, that's okay. There's plenty of ways to plug in privately and privately support. Maybe you have a few bucks you can throw at somebody's campaign. That can be done anonymously. You can also make signs. There's so many things that you can do to support the movement. There are so many ways that you can do it. In fact, I invite you to Google it. What are some ways that I can support blah, 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 whatever it is you want to support? Okay. So if you want to see more peace in the world, if you want to see animals better treated, you want the planet to be treated better, you want our culture to change, you want the country's politics to get better, whatever it is, I just invite you to Google that because I feel like that's one of the things with Libra, with Venus and Libra. If you feed that, you'll feel better. Because if you just try to ignore it, it's sort of like trying to ignore anxiety or depression. It just gets bigger. So instead of trying to ignore it, try to find one small thing that you can do. I challenge everybody to find one small thing that they can do to support a belief or something they feel strongly about that they've been ignoring for a long time. Now, I just invite you to just take this moment, take this week, this or the coming weeks to just make one change, one thing, do one small thing, even if it is you just go like some leader's page or something like that. Okay, just one small change towards something that you believe in, and see and just pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel better? Do you feel like you're doing something? That's what I noticed. In all the years that I put my head in the sand, the one thing that I noticed was that when I did even the smallest of things, that I felt better. And I no longer was running away from things. I was now doing my part, and it helped me feel better. And I invite you to see if that's true for you too. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how this grand trine plays out for you. How does Venus and Libra feel for you? Do you find some beauty in your life? Is there some art or creativity that you tap into this week? And how are things playing for you? You can feel free to talk about the politics and stuff like that. I'm an open forum. In that, I have many different belief systems. Obviously, I don't believe in the current administration, and I'm okay with saying that. Some people think that astrologers shouldn't express their political views. I think it's a little bit hard to do these days. I'm obviously queer. I think it's obvious, but I've even heard Rick Levine, which is one of the most well-known astrologers in the world. I've even heard him say things, and I think it's kind of I think that I am open-minded enough to be able to see where other people are coming from. I do have a Libra moon. And I do understand where they're coming from, and I also think we're human beings. I agree with Rick that we are human beings just like everyone else. I'm an astrologer and I'm a human being and I have my own belief system. And wouldn't you rather know what my belief system is rather than coming in and me pretending and hiding it from you? So I'm letting you know what it is, and that feels okay for me. And I don't need you to agree with my politics in order to read your chart. I'm still going to read it for your emotional state or your job or whatever. I'm not going to intentionally hurt you. That would be silly. I just wouldn't do that. Even if I disagreed with you, I've had people that I love very dearly, very close to me, disagree with what I have. And while I might disagree with you, it doesn't mean I hate you. And I think that's where our separation is right now. I think that's where we're confused as humans, particularly in the United States. So I call for all of us to recognize that fact that we can disagree. We can disagree on lots of things and still care deeply for each other. It is possible. So I encourage you to do that.
I just want to touch base. I forgot a little bit to mention some of the void of course moons this week. The voids are when the moon changes signs, and many of them are smaller, but Thursday it's all day. So during that time, it means that there's less dramatic energy for the moon. The moon is shedding as it gets to the new moon. So there's a waning of emotional energy. And then when we have the moon on Thursday, it will be void all day, 5 a.m. Mountain Time to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So, find out for your area, but I'd be curious how it goes for you. We've been having a conversation. Lots of people have said, you know what? When it's a void of course moon, it's really easy for me to be more productive. I'm less scattered because I'm more focused. And what does it do for you? And we, of course, always want to encourage you if you're a Cancer moon and you're or even a Cancer rising or sun, you are ruled by the moon. I highly encourage you to get a moon app on your phone so you have a good idea of how it's changing and what that's doing to you. Instead of being accused of being moody and emotional, you can be insightful and ride those, understand what's going on for you, because it's all about you. Astrology really helps us understand what our place in the universe is, what our star blueprint is, which is why it's so great to get a reading and help you understand how to take advantage of what's in your chart, how to lean into those gifts that you came with. And I highly recommend you check out, if you want to get an astrology reading, Hollis is amazing. Just going to say that. And you can always book at divineandrogen.com. So, let us know how Thursday goes for you, because it will be void all day. So you might notice a measurable difference with Thursday during the course of the week. But then I think it's going to kind of ramp up. Let me just double check the other days of the week. Yeah, I don't think there's any other voids that are as significant as Thursdays. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. We've laid out the week. We have a little morning, Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. void moon. So Tuesday morning. And of course, if you want to know the moon void calendar, it's called mooncalendar.astro-seek.com. And you can put in your time zone and find out what the void of course moon schedule is in your area. So hopefully it's a great week for you. Hopefully you feel inspired and take action in a way that makes you feel like I did something. And you know what taking action also does is it helps connect us. When we feel connected to our purpose, connected to other like-minded friends and fellow human beings, connected to our humanity. These are good things. So I hope by the end of the week you are connected, more connected to yourself, your purpose, your friends, your place in the universe.
Yeah.
And so I hope that all of you enjoyed this. And I'm going to pull 3 cards for you right now. 3 tarot cards from my Pride deck. My Love is Love deck. Okay. And this deck is an LGBTQ deck. Go ahead, Brito.
Yeah, I just thought I'd talk while I give you a chance to shuffle cards without the mic on. Hollis does a 3-card pull for the past, the present, and the future. And we're always fascinated by how the tarot definitely underscores and re-emphasizes certain themes every week in the astrology, and how we can best flow with the energy. So I'm always fascinated to see what the cards say, and love that Hollis has that deck. It's a great deck. Love is love. All right.
Yes, love is love, my friends. And so I'm going to just start to show you the images here. The first card is the 8 of Pentacles. And this card is very much about the work we've done in the world. What is the work you've already done? What is, especially this is particularly in the past, this is something you already have out in the world or something you've already put out there and or that you've been working on for a while. And this means that mostly the work is done and there is more to be had from that. And so the universe is trying to remind you of the work you've already done and trying to empower you through that work that you've already done. And going forward, and to remind you that you still have that ability to do that type of work. And going forward, this is the Ace of Pentacles, which is very much about resources coming your way and you finding a way to connect to those resources and for those resources to come in for you in a blessing type of way. This is sometimes about money. It's sometimes about other resources as well. And so this would have anything to do with any resources that you need, or especially because, relating to the past, right? Okay. And then we have this now coming through. So some sort of hard work or whatever will probably pay off for you. And then going forward, we have this Knight of Cups. And this makes me think of a young person in your life or a sort of person like this picture here shows. And the interesting thing is you might want to listen to people coming forward because they probably have a message from spirit. Maybe there's something that you've been contemplating or something that needs to change. Well, this person will hold that message. This will be in the future, this week, probably this week sometime, or maybe late over the weekend or something. Someone will say something to you, and that will be a message from spirit. So make sure you listen to that person, whoever they might be. So remember, related to the work, the hard work that you've done, make sure you tap into that hard work. Don't this is like, give yourself credit for the hard work you have done and to check in on that hard work. Make sure that you give yourself credit for that and also to keep engaging in that work because spirit has a big reward for you. That's what the Ace of Pentacles is. Ace of Pentacles is a reward from the universe. And it's usually money or resources in some way or something that could improve your life or make your life better. And it's really important right now because there's also a message from spirit coming your way, probably from a person maybe looks a little like this. Maybe they're even a gay man. Who knows, right? Okay. So okay. Who knows? But that's really what this is about. This could even be a trans person. This could be like a trans masculine person, and this is a message from spirit coming from them. And I wouldn't even assume that it would be a masculine person. I would just assume that it would be this sort of gentle, emotional, sensitive type. And since it's the Knight of Cups, it almost makes me think of like a Pisces type. So someone that could be very sensitive in that department. I tend not to gender things too much or get too caught up in that because, well, gender, sometimes we misunderstand gender. It's often only skin deep. So, unless the person, of course, is in touch with that. And if you're a part of the LGBTQ community, you know that gender expression can shift over time. And so I instead talk more about the sensitivity of this person sort of being a cozy type of person. Either way, you'll know it's a message from spirit because it will come through and it will be resourceful for you and to help you in your future.
Wow, see what I mean? It feels very, very much talking to that Venus in Libra, very much talking to the sextile of the nodes, somebody from the South Node, North Node, influential relationships that could just suddenly appear. Oh, wow, where'd you. Interesting. Gosh, I just love how you pull that together. Well, thank you so much for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology. We hope you've enjoyed this. We hope you join us during the live on Monday evenings. And you can hear the zodiacs, your personal horoscope. Hollis will do those readings as well on Reels. And thank you so much for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week. Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies and ready to work with them in your daily life. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need to hear it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment, let us know what resonated most or what you would like covered next week. Your questions and feedback make our show better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! And catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where you can ask questions in real time and be part of our cosmic community as it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.